Okay, guys, this is patch 9.15 notes. Hey, all, we're keeping it relatively chill for the next few patches after a very large and in charge, chunky yet funky patch 9.14. Uh, really, really interesting way of saying they ruined the game with this patch. Very nice way of saying 9.14 was terrible. We don't want to do terrible things anymore. And 9.15, we're following up with some updates to our latest champion, Qiyana, as well as some of the last patch's champions, Swain and Poppy. Also got some buffs for a few champions that could use a push in the current state of the game. Good luck, have fun. Let's get into it, boys. Evelynn, Q cooldown refund on monster decreased. We're slowing down Evelynn's clear speed, especially in early game. I'm okay with this. I don't think Evelynn is by any means like pick or ban status, but I don't think this is going to ruin her. So kind of just a nothing nerf. Galio, let's see what they did to our boy Galio. This has been one of the most depressing seasons ever for Galio. The champion just can't catch a break, honestly. Passive cooldown scales with CDR. Damage increase, E damage increase. Okay, so they're doing a lot. We've pulled a lot of power out of Galio's more reliable combos. Everything. They've ruined everything about this champion. Now he'll be rewarded with the higher payoff if he's able to land more inconsistent abilities like his E. So it went from 5 seconds to 5 seconds affected by CDR. Wait, they added they added 20 damage to it. Justice Punt. They added 10 damage. You've got to be kidding me. This nerf or this buff isn't even worth the time it took to write this paragraph. This is an absolute joke. Riot, why do you hate Galio so much? Okay, that's depressing. I hope they have some actual changes to this patch. Graves, E armor per stack increase. Now, Graves is a champion I have a huge bias towards. I hate him. I have no idea why it's allowed for someone to be a 1v9 champion that is half marksman, half bruiser, tanky, hypermobile, sustained damage, bursty with the most annoying effect in the game, blind. So every time I see Graves buffs, I kind of see red a little bit because I hate this champion. I hate him just as much as Kate. I truly think those are two of the most heinous war crimes. The Geneva Convention truly does just need to ban this champion. This is inhumane that they made Graves. Anyways, let's read the actual buff. Graves is underperforming across the board right now, thank God. So we're buffing his defenses to help him survive better in the early game and generally be more comfortable brawling. Armor per stack goes from 8 to 20. And I believe he can stack that, 4 times? So actually a pretty significant buff to his armor. Defensives. Personally, I would rather see his offensive stats get buffed because I hate the fact that even if you lock him down, once he gets off a couple of autos, he's just too tanky to kill. I think this is a poor direction to take Graves. I think that's the most cancerous part of his identity, but oh well. So, don't really... I mean, this was like a nothing, and this was a nothing. This is something. I just disagree with it. I think that's a bad change. Karma, empowered E shield decreased. The 913, dude, they can't decide if they want Karma to be strong or not. Everyone knows that Riot is not exactly super covert about buffing champions that they have a skin coming out for. Well, the skin came out for Karma, and then they immediately nerfed her. So that was pretty funny and transparent. But bonus shield from 30 to 25. Oh, and they lowered the AP ratio. Wow. Harsh. Very harsh. Since this is basically what makes her a reliable... It's funny, because in solo queue, it's her empowered Q that makes her strong. In pro play, it's her empowered E that makes her strong. So this is obviously a nerf directed towards pro play. I'm kind of on the fence about it. It's whatever. I don't think Karma needed this nerf, so kind of another thumbs down from me on this patch so far. Kha'zix, Q base damage increased. Taste their fear. Now this is significant. 10 damage on Kha'zix's Q is significant. It's really weird how they seem to just be like pulling champions out of a hat as to which champs get buffs or not. I don't know if they, like, at Riot headquarters, they changed, like, the gameplay design lead or something, but the changes they've made for like the past 3 patches have just been like really random and unexplainable. Like Blitzcrank and Renekton getting the shield burster or the shield destroyer. It's just very strange. Carmen, LeBlanc getting the True Sight thing. Now Kha'zix, now they're like buffing the 1v9 junglers, Graves and Kha'zix. It's just really weird. And it doesn't seem to like relegate to the actual meta that we're in. Like none of these changes so far have been significant or like needed. We aren't seeing like the already super strong champions getting nerfed. We aren't seeing the champions that like actually need buffs get buffs. It's just like they're buffing these middle of the road champions, but okay. E-base root damage increased. Again, really weird. Just a really weird change, because it's only 10 damage early when it's very relevant, and by late game, by the time she has 5 points into this ability, she's already one-shotting people. So the 50 damage is just like completely irrelevant. Yeah, it's like these guys don't even, like, they've never seen a LeBlanc in game. You don't even need to land the E. You walk up, you use your actives, you W or you QW auto, and they're dead. Anyways, is it just me, or none of these changes make sense or relevant? Anyways, Lucian, Q damage increased. Lucian is underperforming at most levels of solo queue play, and while he's more present at higher skill brackets, his clear weaknesses and counters make him risky to pick even where he is showing up. We're giving Lee a slight bump, which should help solo queue players across the board. Sonic wave base damage, so it's 5 damage. Minimum 5 damage there. Maximum damage 10 damage there. I'm okay with that, I guess. Again, buffing these 1v9 champions in the jungle all in one patch has historically not done them very well, but none of these are like significant buffs, so... Lissandra, base health and health growth increased. Our AP ratio increased, helping lists across the board with more early game defense and late game damage. Health, okay, so 32 health, and health growth 90. Frozen Tomb, 60%. Wow, okay, this is a lot. This is a lot. But she was gutted pretty hard early in the season, so I'm okay with them giving a little bit damage back now that they've like taken it slow and like chopped her legs off and then her kneecaps. They're like, okay, we know we chopped your legs off, but we'll give you stumps back. We'll give you leg stumps. Lucian, our damage increased later. 40 per shot. Now remember this, I think it's like 12 shots that he fires off with the culling, so even if it's just 5 damage, that's 60 damage. Somewhat significant. Still kind of just an uninteresting change. Malphite, Q slow increased, W base cleave damage increased. Now, this is, I do like what they've done with Malphite. They've modernized him without like doing the whole VGU or like proper rework. They've modernized the champion. They've given him things like animation cancels, new VFX, so he looks nicer, he feels nicer, he is a little bit stronger. This is the second patch in a row that they've they buffed him. Yeah, 914 changes were intended to be a moderate buff, but we are a bit too cautious and undershot as a result. We're giving him more power alongside some bug fixes. Bug fix. Now cast at max range if used outside of max range. Wait a sec. That's not a bug fix. That's a difference in how his indicator works. This is listed as a bug fix. I don't think this is a bug fix. The way Malphite works is kind of like with Zillion Q, where he has to be within his range to cast the ability. So if you cast it like way outside, he'll walk to that area and then ult it. So now, if you press R, he's ulting, and he'll get as close to where your indicator is as possible, or where your cursor is. Not sure why that's listed as a bug fix. That's just a difference in like how the ability functions, but okay. Seismic Shard, the Q is 15 to 20%, so it's a 5% increase in slow. Cleave damage will now trigger Hunter's Talisman. So buff this is the buff to his jungling. I have seen 2 total Malphite jungles in the short time I've spent with this patch. So Malphite jungle, anyone? This is like the one shining beacon and change, and maybe it's just because I have such like a fondness for this champ, but I do like what they've done with Malphite, so good job, Riot. And I do like what they're doing with Poppy as well, despite me never playing Poppy. So it's not just the champions I play that I like to see good fixes, or good changes. Last patch's set of changes actually reduced Poppy's solo queue performance slightly. Okay, Riot. I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but that's because more people were playing her. You gave her a buff last patch that couldn't have made the champion worse. She has a lower win rate because more people saw you gave her a buff, and now more people realize I'm not very good at Poppy, and they get a couple of losses. All you did was buff her last patch. She couldn't possibly be worse than she was. But okay. W, movement speed from 35% to 40%. Okay, good, cool. Again, I hope Riot realizes that they reduced her solo queue performance because more people are playing her, not because of any positive changes that they gave her. But good change. So 1 thumbs up on Malphite, 1 thumbs up on Poppy. I do think I like how they're like cementing her as the anti-mobility champion. I really like that idea. I think they're going about that change in a good direction, a good, healthy for the game way. It's in sharp contrast to what they did with Renekton, where they're just giving him shield breaking for the hell of it. They're just giving Blitzcrank shield breaking for the hell of it. That's bad. What they're doing with Poppy is good because she already had that identity. You're just making it like more cemented in the game. Qiyana. I'm going to briefly go over Qiyana because I personally can't tell if the champion's strong or not. I see so many good Qiyanas and I see so many terrible Qiyanas that go 0 and 16. So here's the Qiyana changes. I'm not going to go over with it because I'm not well informed enough to tell you if that's a good or bad change. Rumble. Shield decreased. Thank God. This, when I was talking about earlier, we're not seeing any of the 1v9 like already broken solo queue champions. High elo, Rumble is a menace. Like, he's getting banned a lot in my games, and when he doesn't get banned, when I see a Rumble on the enemy team, I'm like, okay, we're probably not going to win this one. So, yeah, it's really good to see, because he's just untradeable. He pops that shield up and soaks all your damage, and he's got that flamethrower running the entire time. Very unfun to play against, very hard to trade with, so I'm glad to see they're tuning that down. That's a good change. Soraka, Q base damage increased. Soraka's on the weaker side now compared to other enchanters. Wouldn't agree with that. Definitely wouldn't agree with that. I don't think Soraka's weak. We're giving back some damage on her Q, especially since we increased its cooldown. Okay, I mean, cool. This is basically a nothing change when you realize that they nerfed the Q like 4 patches ago, and they're just undoing that nerf, or relegating the power differently. Okay. It's 15 damage. I mean, that is quite significant, but this is basically putting it back where it used to be. She's now much more stronger level 1. She can win lanes at level 1. She's untradeable level 1. That's how she's supposed to be, and okay, she's back to doing that. Good job. Swain, Q range reverted to pre-914 range. Reverting back to the old Swain since it resulted in awkward situations where he'd miss more frequently. Yeah, he would miss more frequently because you lowered the... Okay. Not a great change. He's already like S+ tier. Swain is very broken, so to see him get any sort of buff, even if it's a compensation buff, not a great idea, right? Syndra, R damage per sphere increased late. As a match progresses, it's harder and harder for Syndra to get into ult range of the target she's after. We're improving her late game payout. Now, even as someone who really loves Syndra, love her identity, love the way she plays, love her combos, feels great, I play her as a support, I kind of think this is a bad idea. This is a lot of damage, and a lot of damage late. Whereas, you're supposed to spike mid-game. You're supposed to spike mid-game and not be able to do your like one-shot combo late game. You're supposed to fall off and actually have to like coordinate as a team rather than walk around and fish for stuns. Okay. Bad change, even as a Syndra player. Vayne, E-wall hit damage. Oh, God. Tell me they didn't. Landing Vayne's E is one of the most skill portions of her kit. We're increasing the payout and satisfaction for when she pulls it off. Also, we're fixing a problem that's mostly annoying when Vayne tries to last hit. Condemns damage now applies instantly to targets so that minions... Okay, that's a good change, because it feels like the damage should go instantly. The bolt hits them, they fly back, and then the damage procs, right? Now it's going to proc as soon as she takes the... or as soon as it hits them. So this is a good change. This will feel better for Vayne players and for people playing against Vayne. 100% of condemns Vayne to 150% of condemns damage. Oh boy. Bad change, good change. Xerath, R range flattened. We're amping up Xerath's identity as a long-range artillery mage. Oh dear God, who did Zwag? Who does Zwag have like a cousin on the balance team or something? Wow, this is so significant early. Does he really need this? 5,000 is so large compared to 3,200. Yikes. Okay, well, have fun hitting Challenger on another 10 accounts, Swag. Victory defeat banners. Mac users rejoice. Legacy cursor removal. Before anyone panics, they've already reversed this. People are vocal enough about the legacy cursor, including myself. I love that stupid looking gauntlet. That they've reversed this. They have reversed this. For now. They said they do intend to remove it at some point. I personally don't know why. There's 0% chance it is taking up space in the client. It's a literal JPEG. I mean, I made a comparison yesterday. Like, Riot prioritizing getting rid of the legacy cursor is like when your hard drive's full on your computer and you're looking for things to remove, and you go into like your family portrait folder where you've got like all these very sentimental pictures of your family, and you're like, well, I guess these have to go. Like, why would you remove something that you clearly have sentimental attachment to, that a lot of people do, when you could prioritize making actual good changes or removing things that are actually taking up a lot of space? Very, very terrible change. Riot, just don't do it. Just don't do it. Like, I know less than 10% of the players use it, but those 10% really, really like it. Like, they're obviously very vocal about it. They obviously like it. Just don't get rid of the cursor. Okay, bug fixes. Draven's unempowered basic attacks now properly deal damage in Mordekaiser's R. Okay. Kane's R, Humble Trespass now properly goes on cooldown. The target dies while Kane has infected them. That's good. Lux's R cooldown now properly appears in... Okay, pretty irrelevant bug fixes. Nothing massive, it looks like. Oh, this is where all the effort of the patch went to. This is a skin patch. Yay! Skin. Everyone likes skins, right? Project Pike, Project Aurelia, Project Jinx, Project Holly. I mean, these are really pretty high quality skins, honestly. Overall thoughts on this patch? This is like a nothing patch. I really don't know, and I would be interesting to know if they've changed like gameplay lead designers, because I feel like for like 5 or 6 patches they were really, really on a roll. They were addressing actual problems. They were, and I don't want to be one of the haters that says all these problems are stemming from TFT, but there was a noticeable lack in quality of patches ever since TFT has been introduced and implemented into the client. Just saying, maybe it's a coincidence, but I don't know if they've changed lead designers, because like I said, like patch I think it's like 9.6 to like 9.10. Really enjoyed those patches. I thought they were addressing some serious problems, and I thought they were actually adding to the game. These last 3 patches have been pretty terrible in quality, and I hope they get back on track, because this is just a nothing patch. This is truly just nothing. It's like Riot's going around inventing problems. Like, oh, people don't like the legacy cursor, the totally optional JPEG that we have in the game? Let's get rid of that. Rather than addressing the many problems that the game does have. I'm going to try to remain optimistic. I really hope these next 2 patches are better, but 9.15 has been kind of another stinker in a line of stinkers. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Take it easy.